I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you're one of my regular visitors. And if you are new here, a very big welcome to you. I hope you like my style of astrology and I'd love it if you'd subscribe. Before I go into all about the total solar eclipse in Libra on October the 14th, also known as a ring of fire, there is a special lady I wish to thank, and that is Mary in Cork Island. Mary, you have followed me since the very beginning, and for that I am so grateful. And Mary surprised me with the most lovely gift of lotions and potions in a wonderful box this week, or rather last week, just before the weekend. And it was a total surprise. And Mary, I hope you're feeling a little brighter, because I know you said in your message that you were feeling a little bit down, and that doing something nice for someone else can sometimes make you feel better. Well, please, 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 I'm sending feel better vibes and feel better healing. I can tell you it touched my soul, and it certainly made me feel very valued and loved. So thank you, Mary. So now let's move on to this month's new moon. This new moon is on the 14th of October, and it's a total solar eclipse. It's also known as the ring of fire, and that's because the moon is at its furthest from our planet Earth, and so it appears smaller against the sun, and we get this ring of fire round the moon. How does this affect the symbolism? Because that's quite an interesting thought, because the moon and the moon's energy, and the moon, remember, is about feminine energy, it's about the intuition, it's about our feelings, it's about caring and nurturing, and you could almost say it's being overshadowed by the power of the sun, or the power of the divine masculine. You know, we don't often give the masculine the status of being divine, but it is. We have a divine feminine, we also have a divine masculine. And I think it's important, as this new moon is in the sign of Libra, that we bring in that sense of balance. Because remember, Libra is about the scales. So it's a total solar eclipse. It's actually going to be visible about through most of the west part of America. It's also going to be visible, I think, in certain parts of Australia. I forgot to write it down in my notes, so I can't remember. But you can look it up on a wonderful website called timeanddate.com. And on that website, you can click on the link that says eclipses, and you get wonderful pictures. You get the eclipse happening absolutely in the live moment. And so you will see it with its ring of fire over the United States and on its trajectory across our planet. So it's super exciting, and this is a total solar eclipse. So what it means is the sun's energy, the sun's power is dimmed. The light dims, goes out for a while. The symbolism of this, I think, is really interesting. And I would imagine that as you do with a total solar eclipse, where it completely covers the sun, you will actually also, in the areas that it passes over, you will get where all the birds, all the animals go quiet because they sense in their kind of biorhythms, their instinct, it's dark, so it's night time. So let's look at the symbolism of this new moon before we launch into the astrological energies, because they also are extremely interesting. The divine feminine is being overshadowed by the divine masculine. Or is the divine masculine protecting the divine feminine? Sometimes we can go too far in our balance towards being out of balance and the divine feminine and feminine power and girl power at the expense of the energy of the masculine. We have to have a balance. If we don't have that balance, this is Libra. If we don't have that balance, then it is not helpful to us. Then everything gets out of balance, especially in relationships, because this is a new moon about relating, because it's Libra. So if we look at the event chart, and I've done the event chart for universal time, it gives us an ascendant of Taurus, of 15 degrees Taurus. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, opportunity, is just behind that ascendant at 13 degrees of Taurus in the 12th house. This is like the energy of Jupiter, the luck and beneficial energies that it can bring forward are just in the shadows. But it doesn't mean they cannot emerge from the shadows. They cannot come out. That good feelings, good fortune, good opportunities can come out within the sort of within the kind of bounds of relationship. Uranus, my wonderful big boy of surprise, of change, of shocks, technology, the unexpected in Taurus. This is all about the earth, the planet. This is an eclipse. It's in the first house of this chart. So this is, in a sense, telling us that we need to collectively wake up. We need to change. We need to go with this new moon energy to bring harmony and relating into, it's not so much about our personal relationships with our significant other, although that can come under this heading, but it's actually about how we relate on a conscious and an unconscious level with everyone in the collective. Because if we don't have a good feeling for communication, and hey, guess what planet is conjunct this new moon in Libra? Mercury, our planet of communication, our planet of thought, our planet of ideas. Mercury is helping new ideas, new thought to come in for us to help ourselves relate better to each other. You know, this weekend, I'm recording this on Sunday, the 8th of October, and I am a bit late with this video, but as some of you know, I've been having some health issues which are being attended to, and we're on the up. We're looking, everything is looking very positive. So that's the news on that. But we've had some really, really awful events this weekend. Yet another earthquake, this time in Afghanistan. The last time I listened to the news, there was a loss of 2,000 souls, 2,000 people who were getting up yesterday morning with plans for the evening. Sometimes we forget that. The same with the breakout of what seems like very serious threat of serious war between Israel, Hamas and Palestine. Again, a huge death toll. This is Uranus trying to wake the planet up, that we don't have to resolve situations this way. This is not the way to do it. The reason why that's kicking off at the moment is because Mars, our planet of energy, action, assertion, also the god of war, Mars is making a hard square that's challenging to Pluto, newly direct in Capricorn. Remember, Pluto is about transformation. Pluto in Capricorn is about breaking down the old order. This is, in the tarot, this is the Tower of Destruction. And with Mars triggering this Pluto point, it is no wonder that we are seeing these breakout of fighting and war attitudes, countries going on war footings. And maybe this is in some way something about the Ring of Fire and the fact that the sun, who represents the masculine, the light is covered, most of the light of the sun is covered by the moon representing the feminine, but we have this ring of fire. And this is a kind of, if we think of Libra and its cardinal energy, it's also, of course, an air sign. So it's about the acting out of the thoughts and ideas which Mars in Scorpio is bringing in a very and highly destructive way. Mars has only just moved in to Scorpio, and the square was exact a couple of days ago when Mars was still in Libra. So the square is still active even though it's moved into Scorpio. And remember, Mars is a co-ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is the other planet that rules Scorpio. Scorpio, hidden things are revealed. Secrets come to light. Secrets are made public. Pluto is in the 10th house. This is the public. This is the world stage. Uranus in the 1st house is trining. A trine sounds helpful. Pluto. Uranus, our planet of shocks and the unexpected, of earthquakes. I think Uranus is desperately trying to wake up the collective, for us to find alternative ways through communication. Mercury conjunct this new moon, opposite. So both Mercury is exactly opposite Chiron, our asteroid known as the Wounded Healer, and in turn, they are opposite this new moon, total solar eclipse in Libra at 21 degrees. When you're checking your chart to see where this falls, look for 21 degrees of Libra. And then look opposite to where Chiron is sitting in Aries. Chiron is attempting to bring healing into this equation. Healing discussions, healing talk, a conference of healing. Remember, Libra is also about justice and law, legalities. This is about finding our balance in governments, about how we solve the differences that various cultures have with each other, that various people have. We have to be aware of that. So that's really at this point all I want to say about this new moon energy. Remember, don't forget that even though there are some pretty horrific things going on currently, by the time of the new moon, which is still a week away from when I'm recording this video, a lot can have happened and changed and shifted, and in your own lives. Look for the balance and the harmony. Saturn, my big boy of boundaries, rules, containment, timing, restriction. Saturn is trining Mars. Mars, our god of war. Saturn is saying, please guys, slow down. Why are you all coming out, all guns firing? Isn't it bad enough we've got yet another earthquake in Afghanistan? We've still got the terrible problems in Ukraine. And we have the stage of American politics with the potential for a lot of communicating and battling going on between the two sides there. So this trine from Saturn to Mars is saying, cool it, slow down. And if you're having difficulties in your personal relationships or friendships, try to move into the Saturn timing that this new moon is showing. Try to be with the slow timing of thinking, responding, not reacting, inviting, not forcing your way in, reflecting. That way we circumvent a lot of difficulties. Now, on that note, and of course I forgot to tell Jerry when to put the magical chart up. And so he's got it there and he's thinking, well, I don't know. So I think what I'll do is I'll have to drop him a line and say, pop it up at the beginning. And at this point, magically, the chart will disappear. So, oh dear. Let's move on to your individual signs, because I know you would like to know where this ring of fire is going to be affecting each and every one of you. Now let's start with Aries. Aries, this is in your 7th house, your house of significant relationships. What needs to change to be given fresh life, fresh thought? what relationship or relationships in your life really need some healing attention, some good quality communication. Which relationships would benefit from you taking a step back and having a little look at them from a distance and not rushing in where fools don't want to go, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. I ought to remember that one. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Where do your personal angels not want you to engage? Now there's a thought. Let's move on to Taurus. Taurus, for you this new moon is in your 6th house of your daily routine. And I think the general energy for you is that if you use that Saturn energy, which is in Pisces, inviting you to slow down, inviting you to take a little bit more time with what you're doing, with your routine, and also to give some more attention to any health issues that you perhaps have been overlooking or not giving the time to heal. And because this has the potential to be a really healing moon, new moon energetically, use that healing through good communication with a trusted other. It may be somebody who is a medical practitioner that you need to discuss your situation with. It may be a counselor or a therapist that you need to just take some time out with to reflect on where you go from here. Now let's move on to Gemini. Gemini, so for you, this is in the part of your chart that is actually about creativity, but also love affairs. And remember, your ruling planet Mercury is conjunct this new moon in this part of the chart. I think you're going to find yourself having quite a fun time and meeting a few new people, reconnecting with perhaps friends you haven't seen for some time. And in general, anyone you meet at this time, which is new as a kind of potential relationship, I think you'll have a lot to talk about. And it could be a healing relationship for both of you. Even if it doesn't endure or last, it may be what you need in the present moment. So let's move on to Cancer. Cancer, for you, this is in your 4th house, which of course is your domain traditionally. So it's about your home and your family. So this is about really giving some attention to the relationships you have within your family circle. Who have you been perhaps not really giving enough time to? Is there an elderly relative that really would benefit from just some communication with you, even if it's just some gentle chit chat? That might be what's needed. And that Saturn trining Mars is saying you would really soothe troubled waters if you took that path. And Chiron in your 10th house in opposition is really giving you an opportunity to bring healing in to any family situation that has got a little bit ruffled and uncomfortable in the last month or so. So that's how I feel it is panning out for you, Cancer. Now let's move on to Leo. So Leo, for you it's in your third house of communication. This is also teaching and learning and short courses, and it can also be electronic equipment. It can be our household goods. And you might be treating yourself to something new with this new moon. And, you know, and why not? If something has gone past its sell-by date, Leo, then maybe you need to replace it at this time. This would be quite good energy. And you might even find that you find something second-hand, which is just as good and saves you some money. I'm just thinking, because the sun is eclipsed by the moon, it could be kind of an indicator that it's an opportunity to save a little bit of cash on what you might need to invest in. Also, your communication skills, you need to slow down and be patient, take your time, think before you speak, and give people the space to reply and for you to listen. Sometimes, Leo, you get so super excited and, you know, quite full of yourself. And I mean that in the loveliest of ways, that you forget to listen to the reply of the other. So give people the space to say what they need to say so that they really feel heard. Now let's move on to Virgo. So Virgo, for you, this is in your second house of finance. So how are your finances? How is your financial situation? What do you do to bring in your income? Or maybe you're retired and you rely on a pension or on savings. It's a new moon, so I think this boosts your economy. I think you're going to feel a little bit more balanced. I think there's some hesitancy because of this sense of, well, it's this, the sun is eclipsed, so there's some hesitancy on your part into whether you should perhaps make an investment or not. You need to stand back a bit and look at the bigger picture. You know, I've noticed that at the moment, the markets in general, and I'm not an expert, even though I used to be a money broker for 2 short years, I had no idea what I was doing, I hasten to add. But the markets are kind of what we call bearish at the moment, which means everyone is holding back. And because of what's been happening in the world, everything is kind of slowing down economically. So you may grab yourself a bargain in some kind of where shares are available. That's the kind of thing where you could kind of circumvent this and make some money. Now let's move on to Libra, because of course Libra, this is in your first house. So this is your new moon, total solar eclipse, a ring of fire. How are you, Libra? How are you on an inner level? How is the relationship you have with you? Because I think this new moon is inviting you to take some time out and look at the relationships in your life. Because remember, opposite your sign is Aries, where Chiron, our wounded healer, is positioned. And Chiron is asking or inviting and offering healing. Healing for you, healing for your relationship with yourself, and healing for you with your relationships with very significant others. If anything has been floundering, this is just super energy to really kind of make that work in a much better way. So that's good news, Libra. Now let's move on to Scorpio. So Scorpio, it's in your 12th house, which, as we know, is all about the inner you. It's where we feel restricted. It's where we need privacy. We need solitude, isolation, but we don't always like it or really want it. Now for you, Scorpio, you actually love a little bit of privacy, and you love the fact that you can hold on to secrets. And remember, this Pluto square Mars is potentially about secrets that get revealed, that cause a lot of problems. Now, if that's the case, Scorpio, you don't want it to be you that is on the receiving end of these secrets that may, who knows, be floating around about you, because you are such a private person, that have the potential to be damaging. It's a new moon. It's an opportunity to do a little bit of inner reflection, to really look at how you can use this new moon energy to find some balance in the way you communicate with yourself and the way you communicate with significant others. That's what I feel this new moon is about for you. Now we move on to Sagittarius. So for you, Sagittarius, this is your 11th house. And this is the house of hopes, wishes, dreams. It's also the house of the collective, the collective unconscious and conscious. It's the house of technology. Sagittarius, it's a new moon. This is about you finding a way to work with technology in a way that you may not have used it before. To see that you don't have to travel the world, which you quite enjoy doing because you're Sagittarius, to communicate with others, that you can do it via the internet. I know sometimes the traveling is great fun, but there may be a sense with this Mars square Pluto of you exhausting yourself a bit. So you just need to be a little bit mindful of that. And I think if you do that, and I think if you take some time out to see the bigger picture of what this new moon represents for you, what do you want to initiate? What ideas do you have that you really would like to bear fruit, that you've been actually keeping to yourself for some time? Because now might be the time, Sagittarius, to launch them. Now let's move on to Capricorn. Capricorn, for you, this is in your 10th house, career. This is your role in life, your public stage. This is your passion. This is your soul path. It's a new moon. What are you manifesting into existence? Or what have you manifested into existence? Because it will serve you well. There's something new coming for you to do with your career path, your passion, your direction in life, how people see you in the public kind of domain. And it's making you feel much more confident. You're recognizing, I think, Capricorn, because your ruling planet Saturn is trining, which is helpful. Mars, our planet of action, energy, and aggression and war. because it's trining Mars, you are learning to hold back a bit and not leap in and judge, but to take your time to think about it. Remember, it's Libra and Mercury is conjunct this new moon. So you are actually giving yourself time to think and to process the new things that are coming into your life. So it's pretty cool, Capricorn. Let's move on to Aquarius. Aquarius, your 9th house. This is the house of higher learning. It's also quite a spiritual house. You are kind of a spiritual sign, but in quite a technological way. You, Aquarius, are all about frequency and the levels of energy that kind of go up the scale until you reach such a high state of kind of unfolding of consciousness that you've left Earth. And this is a new moon. And this is a new moon that is giving you something to think about. This Chiron in opposition in your house of communication is inviting you to bring in some healing discussions with those that there may be people that you have in your environment that you teach or are students. So there is some healing energy that needs to come in around that. It's also about you exploring new avenues of what you want to learn. Because I do feel there is a real push in you, Aquarius, to expand your consciousness. This is because Pluto, our planet of transformation, is knocking on your door. And I think you can already feel the energy of that and the excitement building up because of what can unfold for you over the next 20 years. And now finally we move on to Pisces. Pisces, my oceans of emotions. My lovely, lovely Pisces. I always say that, but then I know quite a few Pisceans. And Pisces, this is in your 8th house of transformation. But remember, the 8th house is also about beginnings, endings. It can be about death and birth. And it's also about joint finance. So take your pick of which area of your life you feel this new moon total solar eclipse is kind of linked to. Intuitively, I think at the moment, Pisces, Saturn in your sign, going direct, is really inviting you to slow down. Remember, it goes direct at the beginning of November. I think it's round about the 4th. But it wants you to slow down. And even when it goes direct again from its retrograde position at 0 degrees, it's asking you to slow down and reassess your joint finance, the way you handle your finance, the way you see yourself, the way you value yourself. And that habits, manners, and behaviors that really don't serve you anymore, this is a wonderful chance to let go of them and bring in the new. So, on that point, Pisces, my oceans of emotions, I will bring this total solar eclipse, new moon in Libra, ring of fire video to a close. and say thank you so much for coming to watch this. And please like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and also share with your friends, share wherever, and it helps with the algorithms. My output of videos is reduced at the moment because I'm taking care of me, and you know, I hope that's a good example in a sense for all of you to always put yourself first and not overstretch yourselves or overwork yourselves. But it will increase a bit, and there will be a little bit more balance, and I will bring a little bit more content when I've got through the next few weeks. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining me, and I really look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.